Hello, I'm Rachel Jones for the Finance News Network. Joining me today from King River Copper is Non-Executive Director Tony Barton. Tony, welcome to FNN.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Rachel.
So first up, could you start by giving us an introduction to your company?
Well, King River Copper is based in Western Australia. Our leases are up in the far north of Western Australia in the Eastern Kimberly. In that area we host the largest JORC resource of titanium, vanadium in a magnetite resource. It measures something like 4.7 billion tonnes. Up in the area we also have a JORC resource of fluorspar, and some 200 kilometres to the south of that area we've also recently made a high-grade gold discovery at Mount Remarkable.
Thanks, Tony. Now, before we get to your projects, can you tell me about the Vanadium Market?
Yes, of course, Rachel. It's something that we've had to spend a lot of time looking at because the potential size of our deposit is so big. Currently, 92% of the vanadium that's produced and consumed in the world goes into the steel industry. Roughly half of that is to make rebar. And the reason for that is 1 kilo of vanadium in 1,000 kilos of steel makes that steel twice as hard. So that is the main market for vanadium. The outlook in the future, though, is looking at things like vanadium redox batteries and also the possibility of producing a much thinner steel which will be just as hard but lighter for electric vehicles and those sorts of things into the future. The current price of vanadium has exploded over the last 12 months, and I am concerned that the pricing of vanadium might be taking it away from affordability for vanadium batteries. So our focus is pretty much wanting to be a large-scale, low-cost provider of the metal for those more conventional steel industries.
And now let's talk about your company in more detail. What can you tell me about the size and location?
Okay, the location is on top of a feature called the Speewah Dome, which is located some 120 kilometres south of Kununurra. It's probably 30 to 40 kilometres off the main highway to the west.
And what stage are your works at?
The vanadium project is within days of completing a scoping study. The fluorspar deposit completed a scoping study in the last couple of weeks, and the gold side of things is at the exploratory stage.
And how are the economics of these projects?
The economics, I mean, because we're within days of releasing a scoping study, it's impossible for me to be able to provide you with those details at this point, Rachel. But it is a project which is very amenable to large-scale modern mining methods because it's flat-lying at the surface. And we've also done a lot of engineering to develop a concentrate which is typically much higher grade than other groups around Australia.
Thanks, Tony. Now to your finances and to your share price. Can you provide us with a snapshot?
It's been a very interesting year, Rachel. Our shares have gone from a low of 0.5 cent to a high of 19 cents, and they're currently trading around 6 to 6.5 cents. Now that's all been done on very large volumes. I think up until June, July, on average, 10% of our register would change hands weekly. So it certainly has been a darling of the day traders. And I think that's primarily because of the magnitude of our vanadium resource compared with a lot of other groups. In terms of our finances, I mean, we're very lucky to have raised $6 million at 10 cents a share recently. At the moment we've got around $5.6 million in the bank, so we're adequately financed to keep running those studies for the next 6 to 12 months.
Excellent. And to the last question now, Tony, where would you like to see the company over the next 12 months?
Well, the next 12 months is shaping up to be very exciting for us, Rachel. We've got a number of important tests taking place over the next 2 or 3 months with heap leaching, vat leaching, dump leaching test work. At the same time, we'll be progressing a pre-feasibility study with the aim of discussing in parallel with that potential joint venture discussions and those sorts of things over the next 12 months. So in 12 months' time, I'm hoping that we'll have completed a pre-feasibility study and we'll be well advanced on having a joint venture partner with a balance sheet that we can use to develop such a world-class potential project.
Great. Tony Barton, thanks for the update.
My pleasure, Rachel. Thank you.